I almost survived No Nut November. That was until I saw my dead sister. I found the VHS tape on November 3rd while clearing out my sister Vanessa's apartment. The landlord had given me until the end of the month to remove her belongings, 3 months after she'd walked into Lake Superior and never walked out. The police recovered her body 4 days later, bloated and gray, her eyes open and staring at nothing. I identified her at the morgue, nodded when they asked if it was really her, then threw up in the parking lot for 20 minutes straight. The tape was inside a shoebox labeled Mom's Christmas Ornaments in the back of her closet, which made no sense because our mother had been dead for 8 years and Vanessa never celebrated holidays. The box contained no ornaments, just the tape in a clear plastic case with a label written in Vanessa's distinctive handwriting. Watch alone, November only, destroy after. 3 sentences that made my hands shake as I held the tape under the dim closet light. I should have thrown it away immediately. I should have listened to the voice in my head screaming that nothing good could come from watching whatever my dead sister had recorded. Instead, I slipped it into my backpack and continued packing her books. Vanessa had always been strange, but in the year before her death, strange had evolved into something darker and more concerning. She'd dropped out of her graduate program in anthropology without explanation, stopped returning calls, and moved into this dingy studio apartment on the wrong side of town. When I visited her in July, she'd lost 30 pounds, and her eyes had this hollow quality that made me think of abandoned houses. She talked about research she was doing, ancient practices that most academics dismissed as superstition, methods of preserving consciousness beyond death. I'd assumed she was having a breakdown, suggested therapy, offered to help her get back on her feet. She'd smiled at me with cracked lips and said some knowledge was worth dying for. I finished packing her apartment by nightfall, loading boxes into my truck while November wine cut through my jacket. The tape sat in my backpack like a stone. My apartment was 20 minutes away, small and cluttered with the debris of my own failing life. At 26, I was working a dead-end job at a warehouse, living paycheck to paycheck, and using internet corn as a coping mechanism for everything I couldn't fix. No Nut November had seemed like a stupid challenge when my friend Derek suggested it on Halloween, but I'd committed anyway, desperate for any kind of structure or self-control in my life. 3 days into the challenge, and I was already struggling, my body and mind locked in